also expressing dissatisfaction with the process. Now, away from that, the Independent National Electoral Commission is concerned over 200,000 permanent voters' cards are yet to be claimed in Benue State. It is, however, prepared to step up its enlightenment campaign to ensure the more eligible voters show up to pick their PVCs. And on press freedom, the Nigerian Union of Journalists is not comfortable with the arrest and detention of Premium Times journalist Samuel Ogundigbe. It also wants the federal government to prevail on security agencies to allow the media carry out their duties without fear. The union wondered why Ogundigbe is still being held after 48 hours in spite of public outcry.
It is more than 48 hours since the police took Samuel Ogundigbe into custody, and journalists and Nigerians are concerned. This is because another journalist, Jones Abiri, had spent 2 years in custody over what NUJ considered a spurious allegation.
Jones Abiri, for over 2 years by the Department of State Security, on the face of it, is a slap. It's a slap on our democracy. It's a slap on press freedom. It's a slap on freedom of expression. Because judging from even what they're charging for, conspiracy, criminal concealment or whatever. So you look at it and you ask him, what did he do? What did he do? And for 2 years, the DSS could not bring up any evidence against him. As we have seen in court today, this is the second time he will be appearing, yet the DSS could not provide the witness or even evidence. That shows they had nothing against him. It was just an attempt to muzzle the press. And any attempt to muzzle the press would definitely affect this democracy.
They argue that media practitioners should be allowed to carry out their jobs without fear.
It's an unfortunate situation, and on the part of the DSS, they have failed. And I think the DSS had to stop this kind of intimidation. It's unjust to keep someone for 2 years without any evidence. I am in the court today and I listened. They have no evidence why they are keeping him, and this should not continue. This should be discouraged. This is not the kind of DSS we are expecting. The DSS should be restructured, and I think it is high time. You don't keep someone when you don't have evidence to prove why you're keeping him. The court have called for 2 years. No, you cannot forward why you are keeping this man. It's so disturbing, it's so worrisome, and I condemn DSS to the totality in this particular regard.
What we've seen is the persistence of advocacy, that an injury to one is an injury to all. If the journalist fraternity had not galvanized the kind of support that was needed for government to show that Jones was alive, our efforts would have been futile. But also, it also brings to question the issue of press freedom in Nigeria. Press freedom and freedom of opinion is a constitutional guarantee. But unfortunately, we have seen that there have been breaches here and there under this government and in previous administrations, which should not be so. As we presently speak, a journalist is in the custody. Samuel Ogundigbe is in the custody of the police. As we are speaking right now, the police are brutalizing protesters in front of police headquarters.
And in spite of the ordeal of Abiri and now Ogundigbe, the Journalists Union wants its members not to be deterred. The leadership urged media men to continue to operate within the ethics of the job and the ambit of the law.
Well, one, they should adhere strictly to the provisions of ethics of our profession and be factual in all they are reporting, not biased, and of course, things like this could happen once in a while, but they should remain on they should not be deterred, and they should also have at the back of their minds that their union is solidly behind them. We will fight this case, any of the similar thing like this to happen to anybody, we will fight it anytime we see such things occur. So they should not be deterred. It's part of the hazards of the profession, and I am sure we are up to the task as professionals. We will fight such things, and the journalism, yes, it's not a crime. Yes, we have been saying that journalism is not a crime. So no government or any agent of government should not treat journalists as criminals or our profession as a crime. No, we are offering a service to the society, and while the government should do its own, they should also allow the press to do its own work within society.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
The NUJ also maintained that it won't relent in its efforts to see Ogundikpe released and his bank account unfrozen. Emmanuel Ehijine, PTV News, Abuja.
The police have meanwhile said they have not done anything wrong by holding on to the reporter. Police spokesman Jimoh Moshood insists in a statement that Samuel Ogundikpe is being investigated and prosecuted for, quote, theft and unlawful possession of restricted and classified documents inimical to national security, unquote. He explained that the journalist is also being prosecuted under other offences which violate Official Secret Act, Cybercrime Act and the Penal Code law. The police spokesman noted that Ogundikpe has since volunteered statements and is standing trial. Moshood added that Ogundikpe was arraigned within 24 hours of his arrest and remanded in police custody till Monday, August 20th. The arrest and prosecution of Premium Times reporter Samuel Ogundikpe by the police have been eliciting negative reactions on social media. While the arrest came on a day, the presidency ordered an overhaul of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SAS. The consensus, especially among Twitter users, is that acting President Yemi Osinbajo needs to intervene on the matter.
Welcome to Social Media Reactions here on PTV News. I am Daniel Mwaboso. Now, since the arrest of the Premium Times reporter, Twitter has been on fire with the hashtag #FreeSamuelOgundikpe, which has been trending. Notable Nigerians as well as ordinary Twitter users have joined the call for the reporter's unconditional release. We kickstart with the tweet from Governor Ayo Fayose. After weeks of silence, the Ekiti State Governor joined the fray, saying the move deserves condemnation by all lovers of freedom of speech and of the press. He added that he was joining well-meaning Nigerians to call for his release. Now, the journalist, for his part, wondered why the police had to freeze Ogundikpe's account and asked the central bank whether individual accounts could be frozen without a court order. Anyway, Chickstar believes banks are complying with illegal orders. Now, pro-PDP online activists prefer to draw attention to police siege on Benue Assembly and the blockade at the National Assembly by masked security operatives, as well as closure of visa issuance at the U.S. Embassy, and said, quote, just sounds like those dark days of Abacha's dictatorship. Moving on now, another social media influencer sees it as an attempt ploy to bully him into revealing his sources when it is not like he lied or misinformed the public. He also hopes that, in quote, they don't try to frame him because there's no case here, unquote. Let's move up now, and Amnesty International, which readily complains about alleged police brutality, tweets via its Twitter handle at Amnesty Nigeria handle that the police should unconditionally release journalist Samuel Ogundikpe, who it says is in unlawful police detention, and for effects, Amnesty tagged the acting president's handle. Moving up now, we are also adding our voice to the immediate release of detained reporter Samuel Ogundikpe. By now, it's not a crime to be active in one's line of duties. Now, and here is one from a journalist, a TVC reporter, whose tweets about police embarrassing the country, embarrasses, the country and all of that. Now, he wants to educate security officers. This is what he said. Femi lashes out at security chiefs and whether it would take another order from the president to free Samuel Ogundikpe. Some notable supporters of the Buhari administration, like Kenneth Cole, also opted to brush, politics aside to take on the police with an appeal on the Inspector General of Police not to dent what he says are the good works of the president and his deputy. Moving up now, another person spoke out for journalists by saying, without confidentiality, many sources of information will not give journalists information. That's a tweet you can see there. Now, moving up now, another tweet reminded everyone that it all happened on the day the acting president ordered the overhaul of SARS. He maintained that such impunity must stop. And going to one notable Nigeria now, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, for his part, said Samuel Ogudigbe's detention for his refusal to disclose his source to a story raises serious concerns about the preservation of the confidentiality of sources. For him, there is need to protect press freedom as guaranteed by the Constitution. Moving on now to another tweet that says, it is quite clear that the consensus among Twitter users in Nigeria is that this is one police move that was so wrong. But one thing you will be sure about is that we at PTV will keep our viewers updated on the developments in the social media on the Free Samuel Ogudigbe campaign. I am Daniel Mwaboso for PTV News.
An Abuja Magistrate Court has adjourned the trial of Bayelsa-based journalist Jones Abiri till August 17th. This is after he was formally arraigned for alleged criminal intimidation. The court also wants the Department of State Service to present evidence to support their claims. Abiri was held in a DSS cell for 2 years before his court appearance.
I can only tell you, can't do it. The same thing, just like
After 2 years in detention, Jones Abiri is finally in court.
This man is blocking
He is the publisher of Weekly Source magazine. Abiri was arrested in July 2016 for allegedly having a link with militants in the Niger Delta. But his long detention, which lasted for 2 years without trial, is the reason these crowds have gathered at this magistrate court to witness his first arraignment in court. Here in this crowd is the leadership of Amnesty International, Nigerian Union of Journalists, and a host of many other civil rights activists.
We're in a situation whereby people are afraid to speak their mind. They are afraid, and then a situation where members of the press are self-censoring themselves because they are not sure about what would land them in trouble for comments or materials they've shared. And so our call is that freedom of expression is a fundamental human right. Freedom of a press is recognized worldwide. And today, the fact that one of your own has been released on bail is a sign that justice still prevails in our society.
Samuel Ogala is Abiri's counsel. He gave an insight on the journey so far.
But the prosecutor came ill-prepared. And then we made an application that the FIR should be struck out and the defendant discharged. But the court, in his own wisdom, decided to adjourn the case to tomorrow and gave the prosecutors the last warning that if they are not ready to commence trial tomorrow, that the court will do justice by striking out the case. The prosecutor was in court, but the prosecutor that came in court claimed to be representing the main prosecutor, who he claimed is not around. And there was no justifiable reason why the lead prosecutor is not in court.
The court threatened to strike out the case if the DSS fails to provide detailed evidence against Abiri. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
A Niger Delta activist, Daniel Ezekiel, has alleged that a number of youths are held in DSS facilities in the last 3 years. He made this claim while recalling his ordeal at a detention facility. The activist described the inhumane condition under which he was kept alongside some youths from the region.
There are still so many innocent Nigerians who are languishing in 48 youths, and 2 years they've not been taken to court, and those whose family were able to get competent
court judgment, they've not been let go. This is the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria. And I equally want to use this opportunity to appeal to the acting president, who is not just a lawyer, but a son of 36 years in practice, to carry out a reform in DSS. I think this reform is even overdue for the SSCs of DSS to be curtailed, and for Niger Delta youth who are languishing in DSS custody to be set free.
The Department of State Services now has a spokesman. He is Afunaya Nchoriochi. The appointment was contained in a statement by the Public Relations Department of the agency. Afunaya was identified in the statement as the editor-in-chief of DSS in-house magazine. The Triple S is said to be a PhD student. Until recently, statements were signed in the last 3 years by Tony Obuyu, who has never been seen in public. The last visible DSS spokesperson was Marilyn Oga. The National Economic Council says the security situation in Benue State and other crisis-prone states have improved. This is one of the highlights of the meeting presided over by Acting President Yemi Osinbajo on Thursday. Benue State Deputy Governor Benson Abonu attributed it to the performance of troops deployed for Operation Wellstroke.
The NEC meeting centered largely on the security situation in the country. Members received briefing from National Security Advisor Babangana Mungunu on behalf of the security agencies. Also on hand was the Benue State Deputy Governor Benson Abonu, who confirmed the improved security situation in his state.
There is now a synergy between the security agencies in tackling these, the menace of security issues in the country. Council noticed, of course, noted that there is now a lot of improvement in handling the insecurity situations that we have nationwide. A particular example that was given is the issue of pastoralists and farmers' crisis in some parts of, especially north central zone of this country, and indeed the northwestern part of the country.
Also speaking was the Jigawa Governor, Mohammed Badaru. He spoke about the return of people displaced by militia groups.
There will be enough presence of police and civil defense operatives to be sure that those people coming back are secured. I think that is the reason why a NEC committee was formed, where the Inspector General of Police will also chair, where we'll look at all these issues of IDPs returning home or being afraid to return home.
The NEC also put in place a committee to coordinate security efforts in affected states. Francis Etuko, PTV News, Abuja.
A federal high court in Abuja on Thursday suspended hearing in the contempt suit against the chairman, Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmood Yakubu. They're suspending the hearing of an appeal in respect of the suit. Justice Stephen Pam said in a short ruling at the resumed hearing that he was adjourning the matter in view of an order by the Court of Appeal. Emmanuel Okore, counsel to the applicant, AGK Ugbogu, had reminded the court about the appeal court order. The judge had earlier told INEC's counsel Samuel Omale to convey his displeasure to Yakubu's counsel Adegboyega Awomolu under the manner in which he was handling the matter. The Independent National Electoral Commission has formally handed out certificates of registration to the new political parties. The ceremony also provided a platform for the Commission to drop hints of plans to tackle vote buying in coming elections.
For the new parties, it's time to roll out the drums. Not surprising, INEC headquarters looked the scene of a mini political rally. While the party supporters were jubilating, their officials were receiving their certificates of registration. For INEC, it was yet another time to reel out the rules of engagement.
The 23 political parties emerged out of 144 applications received by the Commission so far from associations seeking registration as political parties. I wish to congratulate the chairmen and leaders of the new political parties for meeting the criteria enshrined in the Constitution for your registration as political parties. Needless to add that from today, you are recognized as political parties under the law.
The new parties were formally received by representatives of other parties.
This opens the landscape of participation and opportunity for electors to choose their representatives, and also I want to thank the Commission for being diligent, following the law and order by accepting your applications to register as political parties as guided by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The new parties say they are bringing something new and better for Nigerians.
Nigerians are tired of the capriciously rapacious political parties that have put them in a state of hopelessness. At this time, I'm hoping that all the members of the 23 political parties here will see ourselves as a fresh lease of life for Nigerians. And Mr. Chairman, we are hoping that when you are giving the next certificate of return, it will be to one of the people in this room and not those who have disappointed Nigerians.
Nigeria now has 91 political parties with the registration of the latest entrants. Emmanuel Bagudu, PTV News, Abuja.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has received sensitive materials for the Port Harcourt Constituency 3 State Assembly by-election. Resident Electoral Commissioner in Rivers State, Ogbe Efanga, disclosed this at INEC State Headquarters in Port Harcourt. He said he received the materials at the Central Bank amid tight security. Efanga added that the movement would be restricted on Saturday between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. within the areas involved in the by-elections. He also said the participating political parties had assured INEC that they would play the game by the rule to ensure a peaceful electoral process. And that's it on the news this hour. Many thanks for watching. I am Aisha Jibrain.
Is it not even better that we have a corrupt man who know what we, the youth of Nigeria, want? Trump, as you are saying, Trump is corrupt. Now he's the best president so far. Look at the economy of USA. When the government, you understand, is afraid of the citizen, there is liberty, love, development. But in a situation whereby the citizen is afraid of the government, that is that tyranny. Nigeria is this is tyranny, era of tyranny. You understand? And you cannot take it away. As far as we Nigerians are concerned, Abacha is one of the best presidents we have, and Obasanjo, you understand? And Obasanjo, all these people are corrupt. So is it not better we even have people who they said is corrupt that will come and solve our problem in this country than people who say that they are sent that things are not moving. Our economy is shut down, many things is shut down, nothing is working. So what are we now saying?
What we are passing through in Nigeria is, in fact, is not what we expected. You understand? Even so the Nigerians that voted for, because personally myself, I never voted for Buhari for one day. My vote was not casted for him because I know him right from history. When we were in Lagos, then there was a massive unemployment. Then there was no job. People suffer to eat. Then that was why I didn't give him one vote. And I am telling you, this one, I am not giving him one single vote. My community is not giving him one single vote.
Forget about people who see themselves as if they are the ones to decide. He said he's not going to vote for Buhari. That is left for him. He cannot say his community will not vote for Buhari because he don't know even his brother, his immediate brother, will like Buhari more than he did. You understand? That is how you think. We must pass through a wilderness to get to the promised land. What PDP has been doing to this country is only God. If you give them that chance again, we will derail. We'll get back to where we have been into. Yeah? So we better suffer it now and our future restored.
This government came on the promise that they are going to make Nigeria better. And on discovering, they discovered that there are a lot of messes, which to clean up that messes, it will not take 1 or 2 years, or even 3 years, or one single term. That means 4 years in government. But I discovered that by giving the government more time, maybe about 8 years or more, we can now start crediting them that yes, they've done this, they've done that. But for the past 3 years of this government, apart from the insecurity that is caused by our own people here in the north central of the Middle Belt extraction, I discovered that yes, this man is really, and the party is really doing well for our people.
The Buhari government is one of the best government we've witnessed. One, Buhari have plan for our generation yet unborn. And Buhari is one we reserve our voters card for till 2023 before we decide who will enter the villa. Because some of us that bring Buhari there, we are still backing Buhari till 2023, and we are happy with his government. The people, the cabinet of Buhari government is people we want. They are intelligent, they are very intelligent, and they are doing what we want. They are protecting our interests, the interest of our generation yet unborn. And our church, we mobilize people, we urge people, we appeal to you to reserve the voters card and continue with Buhari. Thank you, Nigeria.
Action.